if you're on the same page with him and he understands what your overall strategy is and what you're trying to accomplish, it's probably going to be one of the best things you did. But if he's just looking at you as a number, then it's probably not going to work out.
Hello, and welcome to Get Diversified.
Hello, everyone. We're Jacqueline and Melvin Landry, and we welcome you to our podcast, Get Diversified. Throughout these series, we'll cover all the topics and questions you have about investing in apartment buildings, storage facilities, and mobile home parks. Being knowledgeable in these areas will help you feel more comfortable about investing. Apartment investing equals building wealth. Building wealth equals financial freedom. Achieving financial freedom allows you to spend your time with building memories with your loved ones. Let's face it, time is the one element in life that is limited, and you don't want to waste it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Get Diversified. I'm your host this evening, Jacqueline Landry. So happy to have you. And I am here with Scott Kidd. And Scott, welcome to the show. Welcome to Get Diversified.
Well, thanks for having me on, and I'm ready to get diversified.
Fantastic. Well, so Scott, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your background.
Okay, well, I'm originally from Jamaica. My dad's Jamaican, my mom's American, and been a full-time yacht captain for 25 years, since about 2000. And I started out in single family like a lot of people, and then eventually made a transition into multifamily. Been doing that, and my wife and I have been in the yacht business for the last 20 plus years. She's a charter broker, and we also own a day charter business. And real estate has just probably been one of the best things that I've ever done. Much.
Fantastic. And what was the catalyst to get you to go from single family to multifamily?
Well, I was like a lot of things. It was, you don't know what you don't know. And friend of a friend was here visiting Florida, and we were talking, and he said he did real estate. I found out that he had bought and sold a 46-unit apartment building, and he'd made a certain amount of money in just 2 years. And he said, well, hey, I did it. If I did it, you can do it. Anybody can do it. It's not as difficult as you might think. You're doing the same thing that you would be doing with that house that you're renting and stuff, And so I, the light bulb went off, and then I just kind of did a lot of research, and did a lot of analysis paralysis, and then eventually met with the right people and partnered up, and just went from there, and it's just gotten bigger and better ever since.
Got it. So did you find a coach, Scott, or is it really just a bunch of, you doing a lot of research and just reaching out to different real estate mastermind and groups, or what did you do?
It was a bit of both. I met a lot of different people that went to a lot of the networking groups and stuff, and before COVID and stuff, and I kind of got discouraged because a lot of the meetups were like at the end of it, they just try to sell you something, a meeting, a call, and stuff like that. And after about 10 of them, I kind of was discouraged. I said, well, let me just go to one more. And then I ended up going to one that was really good. And ended up being one of the people that I partnered with. And she and I get along great. We've done some deals together, and we'll probably do quite a few more. And then with the lack of meetups that were, where you could just go and learn about real estate and just kind of talk openly about what you're doing or what you want to do. I ended up going to a few more, and then I started my own meetup group called the Yachtie Real Estate Investors, because there's a lot of people on boats and in my field that don't know that all these opportunities exist. So I want to make sure that they know that it's out there so that they can utilize that to, help them, because the boating world is very unstable, like a lot of industries nowadays, but it can be here today, gone tomorrow. So, if you have some passive income coming in, you don't need to jump into the next job. You can kind of pick and choose the right opportunity for you.
Awesome. Well, I didn't get an invite to your meetup, so that's number one. So I'll put my request in now because anytime I can get over
So I'll
in the winter time.
give you the VIP because everybody's VIP.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. So when you said that you made the switch from single family to multifamily, did you go all in on multifamily? And are you no longer doing single family, or are you doing a little bit of both?
I'm just multifamily, all in on that. I did do for a while. I did chase a lot of the shiny things and go from one thing to the next. Storage. Looking at land, looking at development, and then eventually I just decided that if I'm going to get any traction, I really have to stick to one thing.
Yeah.
And I have, now I've have coaches, and I joined a couple of masterminds a couple of years ago now. And I joined another mastermind, and I also joined Raise Masters here with Hunter Thompson, which I think is great. It's enough can be said about just putting yourself in the room with people that are doing what you want to do. It's a game changer.
Yeah, for sure. So my husband's the face of Raise Masters for us. So if you ever see him, be like, "Hey, I know your wife."
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, he gets that a lot, especially when we show our card. We have a picture of both of us on the card, and they're like, "Hey, wait a minute, I know your wife," and I get the same thing on his end. Okay, so that's really good. So very different, Scott, than what we're doing. Right? So we are in multifamily over 2,900 doors. But when we started to look at it, we said, okay, well, how are we going to build our cash flow? Right? Because we all know that multifamily is not exactly going to give you the monthly income that you need to live if you don't have a W-2. So we're focusing on some smaller, multifamily where we can really get some decent cash flow. And if we get, 10, 20 of these, smaller 2 or 3, 5, 10 units, then that could be some pretty good cash flow for us. So what are you doing for cash flow? So I know that you're still working part-time, but are there any other investments or asset classes that you invest in that, provide a little bit more cash flow than what multifamily provides?
Well, for me, what I do is I'm co-GP on a couple of different deals now, and that generates some revenue. We have our smaller portfolio, which, like you said, the smaller multifamily can do quite well and cash flows really well too.
Yeah.
We have that, and also have some limited partnerships that I invested in other people's deals where we get cash flow from that. And my goal is to do a couple of each of these every year. And each one of those, they're all in different parts of the country. They're all, different. Some of them are larger multifamily, some of them are smaller multifamily, some of them are Class C, some of them are, Class B. So they're kind of diversified in that way. And they're also diversified geographically because they're in different parts of the country, different markets. And multifamily will be, is always going to be fairly stable because there's only so many apartments in so many places, and there's really a lack of supply.
Yeah.
And for at least the next 10 years, there's not going to be there's going to be a huge demand for it because they don't have enough houses. They're not building enough houses either for new builds for people to buy either. So people have to live somewhere. So.
Yeah. Or they're building these and they're A class plus,
Yeah.
and they're $4,000 or $5,000, and it's just pricing people out of the market. That number one, they can't afford to buy a house. And then they think they can rent an apartment. And if they try to get into one of these new builds, it's even more than buying a house.
Yeah. And that's what we focus on is light value add projects that are in, in that $1,000 to $1,500 month rent, which is kind of, I guess, more workforce housing where the majority of people live. So, if the economy takes a little bit of a dip in any one of these areas, to figure out how to pay $1,000 a month is a lot easier than $3,000, $4,000. You can fall behind pretty quick and be in trouble.
Yeah.
I think it's a more conservative play, and I think it works it works for what I'm doing. Everyone, to each his own. Everyone has their own strategy that works for them. And we also have the day charter business, and all of it, all of it goes into real estate one way or the other.
Yeah.
Goes in, comes back out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It seems to go out faster than it comes in. Right?
Yeah.
How do you balance all of this, Scott? Because I know a lot of people that do multiple things, like you do, including my husband, right, who wears multiple hats. But I mean, how do you balance it? Because you have, you're having your own businesses, you're being LP, you're being GP partner, you're getting your hands into, different parts of the United States with investing. So how do you keep it all straight? What's your secret sauce?
Well, I would just be honest and say I don't. Whatever I need to get done, I get done, and then I probably just don't sleep as much as the average people. I have a tendency not to sleep much. I get up early, and then I always say I'm going to bed early, but I usually don't. I end up getting into something, But I love what I do. I love being on the boats, and I love real estate. So I'm gonna do both of them until they tell me I can't do it. So
got it. So is your if you were to have it exactly the way that you wanted it to be, what would be different than how it is now?
What would be different? I would be doing more. I think more deals and doing have more passive income because my goal is basically to have the option to where if I want to walk away from the boats and go part-time, that will be, not to say that I will do that because I still love what I do. So I probably won't, but at least I'll have the option, and that would be the thing. It's not necessarily a hard number or a hard target of I need to have X amount of anything. It's just that I have that peace of mind that I can do that.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, with my husband working a W-2, our goal is 3 years tops for him to kind of get rid of one of those things, one of those jobs, and just focus on multifamily, because that's when it starts to get fun, right? You're doing all these road trips, you're meeting with different investors, you're having dinners and lunches because you can and you have the time. So that's what our long-term goal is, right? More time to spend on the things that we love to do. So you and your wife are in, operating your business. So how do you keep personal versus business? Like, how do you separate them? This is a question that we ask for a lot of our couples, and I wish your wife was on here with us, but since she's not,
maybe we should have her on one time. You guys should talk anyway, because we actually work right behind each other. But when I'm on the boat, I'm working, on the boat. But I usually block my time off to where I work for a certain amount. I've gotten better at that because I find I get more done, and her schedule and mine, especially when I'm at home, is because we have kids and everything, and your schedule can be a little bit up in the air. You kind of jump at whatever has to get done, especially if the kids need something or they need to go somewhere or need to help them with something. You have to kind of stop and restart. So you really have to block off and get your stuff done as soon as you can, because your stuff always will fall by the wayside quicker than everyone. Yes, my priority of me goes way down the list.
Yes, but you got to keep the wife up there on the priority, like right after the kids, or right at the same level. So what you're telling me is you don't separate business versus personal.
No, it gets blurred sometimes, but we usually, like we've been trying to do lately, and we succeed at it sometimes, as we just say at a certain point we just stop and we just go sit down or sit in the backyard or go, let's go do something. And it makes a big difference when you just take a break, or you schedule time, put stuff on the calendar. It really works when you say, hey, we're going to go do this, then everyone it's like, hey, we need to go, and then
Yeah.
so then you just drop everything and go because it gives you like a goal or a soft target or something rather than, oh yeah, we'll go, and then it just doesn't happen because you didn't schedule it.
Yeah. Yeah. My husband used to send me calendar invites. He hasn't done that in a while, so maybe I need to remind him of that so that we get it on the calendar.
I should do that. I should do that to send my wife some calendar invites. She'd probably be shocked.
That'd be good. Instead of flowers, send her a calendar invite.
Yeah, I'd probably get the, why are you sending me this?
So, another question for you. So, what's next for Scott? So, I know you want to get into more multifamily, but what's really next? Is it bigger projects? Is it, what exactly is it? Like, what are you really kind of striving towards?
Bigger projects is one, but I feel like I'm gaining a lot more traction, and just I really like showing other people that these options are available. So I'm gonna have the meetup group, but I'll probably want to do some free online stuff for just seminars or stuff for people so they can know more about this stuff, because I think it's really important, especially like just even that's common to us, financial tutelage and stuff like that it's really necessary, because I think it'll just help. Just a couple things will really help people a lot. And that's, I didn't know a lot of these things are available, and I just want other people to know. And that eventually that'll be my end game, is where I'm probably doing that. And as to where that's going to go or take me, but I enjoy doing that because I enjoy meeting more people and networking with a lot of people. It's really what has made all of this possible. So
yeah. Yep. Finding a new coach, getting in the right room with the right people that are smarter than you, so that they can share the knowledge and you can continue to grow as an investor and as a syndicator. So what role do you play in most of your deals, right? So investor relations, right? There's syndication, there's asset management, there's finding the deals.
Usually it's investor relations and helping raise money. And right now I'm organizing how to find some preferred equity and just wherever, like if someone needs help with something else, like finding a property manager or contractors or what have you, I fill in the gaps like that, because on the boats and stuff, I've done some large projects, and we used to have a trucking business when I was a kid. We used to do a lot of larger projects and stuff like that, and so logistics and stuff like that is not difficult for me. Usually, I can figure it out. And on the yachts in particular, everybody wants everything yesterday, so speed of execution is, you have to do it before they think of it. Is what. So they want it yesterday and right away. So
yeah. So the folks that buy these big yachts, are they savvy about real estate investing, and do they understand the tax benefits that they can endure if they were to invest in real estate? Because before you answer that, I'll let you know, I've talked to a lot of wealthy groups of working professionals, such as, doctors and dentists and VPs and CFOs and those kind. And the answer is no, at least not from me, right? They don't know the tax incentives and what's out there. They think that they need to do something in order to get these tax incentives, when it's really just, wiring the money to your general partnership team and sitting back and waiting.
Yeah. I would say it's a mix. Usually the high net worth, the wealthy people, they may not know, but they have a guy that works for them that knows, that does stuff for them. So, because I get that question all the time. Oh, you work on these yachts. Why don't you just get them to put it on these apartment buildings? Like, well, it's not quite that easy. It's the same thing as if, these guys have a family office for the most part. They might have a trust. So they have not only just a family office, they may have a guy and then another guy, and they have a team of people that are handling their billions of dollars. So there's, you're going to have to be vetted by not just one guy. He might say, okay, but, they could say no because they got their overall strategy and stuff. They have businesses, they have real estate, I find that to be common with, the high net worth professionals as well. They don't necessarily know a lot about these real estate benefits and stuff. And it's I even worked for a guy who gave me my first captain's job. He was a real estate developer, and he had a lot of private groups. And, up until 2012, a lot of these deals were, before the Jobs Act and everything, you had to be invited in. And still to this day, a lot of the really good deals, you still have to be invited in. So it's kind of a more kept secret, of all these benefits and stuff. But I think, with YouTube and all these things coming out, it's, you can learn about this stuff pretty rapidly. I think it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, you just need to have that open mind and that curiosity to want to learn, right? I think a lot of the folks in my ecosystem right now from my past, maybe the mindset isn't as open. And it's not, and I think about myself, well, shoot, well, how was I 10 years ago? Or how was I 2 years ago or 3 years ago?
Well,
the mindset wasn't there for me. So I totally get it. So what is that one thing that I'm going to say or do to these folks to get them to come around and they go, got it, right? What's your strategy? This will be my last question for you, but what's your strategy for like conveying the message to somebody that's never heard of it before?
Well, it's kind of the same thing that I do on the boats. Is I just try to lead, just kind of focus on leading by example. I send it out to them and let them look at it and ask them if they have any questions or anything like that. But also just, the more they see me doing it, eventually they'll come and ask, because I've had a lot of people, like they still don't get it. But now they're starting to ask questions like, well, okay, so how are you doing this again? How does this work? And it's like, well, I'm glad to show you, glad to show anybody. You don't necessarily, there's no commitment or anything. Just, here's how we did it. And, here's how you can do it. Because if I can do it, you can do it. It's, that's going to keep that mantra that, and eventually people will come around. As long as you're genuine.
It just takes a while, right? To build that. They know you.
Yeah.
They like you. Do they trust you? Maybe a little bit, right? But I think is like leading by example is a great way to put it. I was just talking to somebody today, and I asked them, they are been passively investing for 15 years.
Okay.
And I said, well, how do you choose who you invest with? They said, well, I look at the numbers, kind of.
Yeah.
Said, I need to like them and trust them. So 80% of my decision is based on the know, like, trust.
Yeah.
20% of my decision is based on the high level, what I know about underwriting on this deal. Because if I know you, like you, and trust you, I'm gonna give you my money. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And listening to a lot of family offices as well, right? They talk about that all day, that it's the 80-20 rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they know you, like and trust you, they're gonna look at those high level numbers, but they're not gonna ask much questions after that.
Well, because that's what I did when I first invested in a syndication, was that I looked at probably about 20 of them, and then the reason why I invested with this particular person was because, like, he said, look, you're working full time. May not be the best thing for you to jump all into being a GP at this time, because it's a lot of work. I can tell you, I'm doing it now. Maybe you want to, and I'll go through and show you how all this stuff works and all this stuff. And, the numbers weren't necessarily as good as the other ones, but he was the only person that we never talked about the deal or the numbers or anything like that. Really, we just kind of more talked about what my overall goals were, or what my, what I wanted out of it more than anything. It was more about me. So that was basically the trust factor was there after I talked to him a few times. He's helped me a lot. He's actually my coach now, and I'm part of his mastermind, and it's where I'm doing the deals now. So it's, it goes full circle, and it's, you end up being around people that are similar minded. Like we're all fairly easygoing, and everyone in these teams and stuff on these syndications, you have to really get along with all these people. If you're not a good fit, it's probably not going to work out. And that's really what you have to look for, is you have to know and vet that syndicator, vet the sponsor. If you're on the same page with him and he understands what your overall strategy is and what you're trying to accomplish, it's probably going to be one of the best things you did. But if he's just looking at you as a number, then it's probably not going to work out.
Yeah, exactly. And I love it when I see new people coming into the multifamily space and they go, I want to get a GP deal. I want to get on a GP deal.
Yeah.
I said, hold on a minute. Learn the business. Learn who the good and the bad people are, because let's face it, Scott, people out there that they're not in it for the right reasons and are not honest and loyal and trustworthy.
Yeah.
So I said, don't jump into a GP deal. Understand teams, understand how multifamily works. And I said, it's not all about being a GP. So I always give them the advice, ease into it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and learn.
Yeah. The way I look at it is just, the hardest thing for me and the thing that's ongoing is figuring out what I want and what my overall strategy is. Because, in a year or two, I have to reevaluate, because that's completely different. Like once I really got into multifamily, I did a lot more than what my goals were actually. And then when I look back, I said, oh, well, I really underestimated what was possible. So in the next step, I have to go bigger or think about it bigger, because as you get into the bigger deals from what everyone tells me and from what I see, seem to be easier to put together. The banks like them, the equity partners like them, the investors like them because they're more stable and stuff like that. And it just kind of, it goes that way. It's funny how that works, because some of the smaller deals, I know that 8 unit that we had, we went through a lot. I mean, we ended up having to redo everything, and that was a lot of long days, long nights, and
I think there's ups and downs. No, I mean, there are horror stories about 1,000 units versus 20 units, right? They're all there's always good and bad.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
Cool. So, what else do you want to share with the audience, Scott, before I ask where can the audience find you if they want to learn more about you?
Well, if they want to learn more about me, they can look me up on my website, investwithscottkidd.com, and my name, Scott Kidd, is on LinkedIn. And I also have a meetup group. It's Yachtie Real Estate Investors. It's on all the social media.
And I'm gonna be there.
Okay, definitely. Well, I look forward to it. We'll have some fun.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, Scott, thank you so much. Great hearing your story and kind of where you've gone, or where you've come from, and more importantly, where you're going. So 6 months to 8 months from now, we need to get you back on the show, because I want to hear like what's happening. Did you get into those larger apartment deals? Do you now have the opportunity to work when you want to work? So excited to see where your future is going to go. I know there's big things planned for you, and super excited to keep in touch and maybe work on a deal someday together.
Yeah, that'd be great. Well, thanks again for having me on. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, my pleasure. Have a great rest of your night.
Thank you.
Jacqueline and Melvin, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to listen to this episode of Get Diversified. Please make sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on future episodes. Finally, stop by our website and follow us on social media. Ciao for now. Make it a great day, and we'll see you next time. And remember, get diversified.